Hello friends, welcome to the Plant Science Forum. Now in this video we are going to discuss types of tissues and in particular permanent simple tissues. Now we have already discussed what are the tissues in one of the previous lecture, but just to revise, these are nothing but the group of cells which have same origin and together they carry out a similar kind of function. The combination of tissues, group of tissues, they form the organs. In particular plants there are three kind of tissue system. One is the epidermis, another is the ground tissue, and third one is the vascular tissue system. Now in this image you can see a different kind of tissue system in different organs. In case of root, stem and leaves, the color itself indicate and it explains the type of tissue system present at various levels in different organs. Now let's come to classification of tissues. So this is classified as on the basis of development, function and type of constituent cells. On the basis of development, they are meristematic and permanent. We have discussed meristematic tissues in one of the previous video, and now we are going to discuss a permanent type of tissues. In that there are two kinds, simple and complex. Now in this video we are going to discuss about these simple tissues, simple permanent tissues. There are three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. The sclerenchyma is again of two types, fibers and slurids. So permanent tissue, they are actually, as the name suggests, mature cells. So they have definite shape, size and has a definite function. So they are thin walled and they are living. There are some permanent tissues which have a thick wall and they may be living or non-living. So permanent tissue consists of both the types, living and in some cases they are non-living. But the non-living cells must be a thick walled cells. Now the permanent tissue are derived from apical meristem. The apical meristem lies at the apex of shoot and root. So shoot apical meristem or root apical meristem. And the secondary tissues are derived from the lateral meristem. Lateral meristem is of vascular meristem type and vascular cambium and the core cambium type. Now as I already discussed in one of the flow chart that the permanent tissues are of two types, simple and complex. Now let's talk about the simple permanent tissues. They are of only one type. You know that tissues is nothing but the group of cells, and when we talk about a particular type of tissue, that means the whatever cell, whatever the number of cells are present in that particular tissue, they are of only one type. There is no mixture of cells in a tissue. Yes, in some cases when we talk about the complex permanent tissues, you will see that the tissue consists of different kinds of cell, but here as the name suggests they are simple. They consist of only one type of cells and they perform a common function, and they are originated from the same mother cell. That's why they are of only a single type. So these permanent tissues, simple permanent tissues are of three kinds. One is the parenchyma, another is the collenchyma and third one is the sclerenchyma. By looking at the image itself you can distinguish between the three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Now let's talk about the parenchymatous tissues. In this type they have a thin primary wall. As you can see, they have a thin primary wall and composed of cellulose and calcium pectate. They are loosely arranged. You can see the loose arrangement of cells in this image. The shape may be oval, isodiametric, that means itself a spherical, rectangular, cylindrical or stellate. Stellate means a star-like appearance. So here you can see a star-like appearance of the cell. They are cosmopolitan in distribution. That means the parenchymatous cell found everywhere in the plant body, whether it is a root, stem or leaves. Now parenchymatous cells of pith and cortex are originated from the ground meristem, and the parenchymatous cells of xylem and phloem, they originated from procambium. To understand this, here I have shown the shoot apical meristem diagram which we have seen in one of the previous video. Here you can see the location of ground meristem. Here a green portion is ground meristem, and this yellow line it represents the procambium. So this is how a pith cortex and xylem and phloem is derived from the ground meristem and procambium respectively. Now, when parenchymatous cells they consist of chlorophyll, they are known as chlorenchyma, as you can see here. But in case of aquatic plants, the parenchymatous shows large spaces. Now, this portion which you are seeing here, this is nothing but the air gaps, air cavity, and this is known as aerenchyma. They are parenchymatous type only, but they consist of air cavity, that's why they are called as aerenchyma. And because of presence of aerenchyma, the aquatic plants has got a buoyancy property, that means they can float on the surface of water. Now, when parenchymatous cells have a long tapering end at both ends, they are called as prosenchyma. The function of parenchyma is generally a storage of food materials such as starch, oils, fats, and proteins. Now, when they contain chlorophyll, they act as a site of photosynthesis. That means a chlorine gametous tissue. Here in this image, you can see this red type of granules, which are nothing but the accumulation of starch. Now, secretory organs, they are made up of parenchymatous cell. Here you can see lumen, which is guarded by a parenchymatous type of cells, which is nothing but the secretory duct. As already discussed, parenchyma help in gaseous exchange and it provides a buoyancy to the aquatic plants. The cells has regeneration power because they are of parent type of cells. As you can see in this image, here is a wound, and this wound is now healing by forming a parenchymatous group of cells. In hydrophytes, the turgid parenchyma it provides a rigidity, that means a mechanical type of support in water bodies. Now the second simple permanent tissue is cholenchyma. In cholenchyma, cell wall is unevenly thicked. You can see here the uneven thickness in the cells. They are homogeneous, that means only one type of cell, more or less elongated, and they are living cells. As the cell wall is thickened at various locations, that's why they provide a mechanical support to the plant organ. The cholenchyma are similar to parenchyma except the thickening, because they are homogeneous, they have various kind of shape, and they are living cell. That's why they are just like parenchyma, except the thing is that in cholenchyma there is a cell wall thickening because of extracellulose and pectic substances present on the cell wall. Now, they are found at various locations in the plant body, such as periphery of herbaceous stem, petiole, ribs, and in some leaves of hypodermis stem. So there are various locations. Here you can see elongated cholenchymatous cells. In the cross section, they look like this. That means it shows a thick cell wall. You can see here in the leaf that is the cholenchyma hypodermis. It shows a thickening at various locations, and that also uneven thickening. Now they are compactly arranged without intercellular spaces. In the first image you can see their compact arrangement and with very little or without any kind of intercellular spaces. Chloroplastid may be present, that means they can also perform the function of photosynthesis. So on the basis of thickening on the cell wall, they are divided into three categories: angular, lamellar, or lacunar. Angular name itself suggests that the thickening is present at the corners or the angles of cell wall. Laminar means in the tangential wall. Tangent is nothing but the line or the plane passing from the periphery of circle. So here you can see that on all the peripheral sides, on the peripheral sides of cell, there is a thickening. The thickening is represented by a bluish violet color. The third type is the lacunar, where the thickening is present only at the intercellular spaces, not at the junction of cells, but only at the intercellular spaces. The red color indicates the thickening between the intercellular spaces. Now the function of cholenchyma. As because of their thickening and their extensive plasticity properties, Ultimately, it means that they provide a mechanical support to a organ. Now they are photosynthetic and they store starch. You can see here the cholecystoma cell, because cell wall is showing the thickening at various location, and they contain the small spherical body is nothing but the chloroplast. And as it is a photosynthetic nature, ultimately locally at that location it stores a small amount of starch. In some, a peripheral cholecystoma gains a meristematic activity and form a core cambium. Now this cholecystoma cell, you can see it on also the margin of leaves, because of which the leaves are getting prevention by tearing from the wind, because of action of a continuous blowing wind. Here also you can see the development of core cambium. This red line indicates the development of core cambium from the cholecystoma, but in some cases, not all the cases. Now let's talk about the third and the last simple permanent tissues, which is a sclerenchyma, or you can say sclerenchymatous tissues. They are usually oval or elongated, thick walled, and they are dead cell. Thick walled and dead cell. This is the important character of sclerenchymatous tissues. They are lignified mostly, but in some cases they are non-lignified or very less lignified, and because of lignification they have a very small lumen. You can see in this image the lignification. In some there is a less signification, and in some there is a more lignification, and because of that the lumens has got a narrower. As they are dead cell, a protoplast may be present or usually it is absent, and they appears like hexagonal net. There are two types sclerenchymatous tissues. There are two types. One is the fibers, another is the sclerid. The fiber itself indicate it is a long elongated, and sclerids are like this, which shows uneven thickening in the cell. Now first let's talk about the fibers. As the name suggests, they are long, narrow, elongated. This you can observe in this image. This is the LS of stem, which shows the long, narrow, elongated type of fiber cells, and in the cross section it appears like this. If you talk about the length of fiber, then it vary from the 2 to 550 millimeter in angiosperm, and as they are dead cells, they are thick walled, they provide a mechanical support to the plant body. Here you have to focus one thing, that in previous tissue, that is cholecystoma tissue, we also said that they provide a mechanical support, but the mechanical support provided by a cholecystoma tissue is local type, that means for that particular organ. But when we talk about the sclerenchymatous tissue, because of their length and thickness, lignification, they provide mechanical support to whole of the body. Now if you look at the example, the fibers are present in fiber yielding plant. Given is the example Hibiscus cannabis and Cocos nucifera. You can see here Hibiscus cannabis and Cocos nucifera is a very common example. On the basis of origin, these fibers are classified in three types. One is surface fiber, another is wood xylem, and third one is the extraxillary or bast fibers. Surface, they are found on the testa of various seeds. Wood xylem, they are, as they are xylem, that means they are derived from the cambium and associated with the xylem, as the name suggests. There are also three types: libriform, fiber tracheids, and gelatinous fiber. And this extraxillary bast fiber, they occur in the cortex, pith, and phloem. So they are soft, but in particular in case of monocot, they are called as hard fibers. Now let's talk about the sclerids. As you can see in the image, they are a thick walled and dead cell. Because of this huge thickness, the protoplast has died and there is a no living characteristics, and because of this character they are also known as stone cells. They occur simply or groups with xylem or phloem. The shape is also varying, oval, spherical, cylindrical, dumbed of various kinds, and they are located in mostly hard part because of their nature of thick wall dead cell, also called as stone cell. Obvious is that they are located in hard part of the plant body, such as endocarp of almond, as you can see here, or the pericarp of coconut. So on the basis of forms, they are again divided into five different types. One is the brachyslarids, macroslarids, osteoslarids, astroslarids, and trichoslarids. The brachyslarids are stone cells. They are isodiametric. They actually resemble the parenchymatous type of cells. They are found in bark and phloem. Now macroslarids, as the name suggests, they are macro in nature. That means elongated and rod shaped, found in outer seed coat layer. As the name suggests, osteoslarids, they are columnar and just appear like a narrow bone. Astro, again the name suggests, they are astro means a stellate shape, that is star shaped. Tricho means a trichome. You can understand by what the word tricho, just trichome like, that means hair like. So they are also elongated and extend into intercellular spaces. So these are the types of slarids on the basis of form. In this image you can see brachyslarids, macroslarid, osteoslarid, astroslarids, and trichoslarids. Now the function of sclerenchyma is mechanical support because of its dead nature, thick cell wall. Now they also protect from various stresses by and strong wind. They gives rigidity and protect the plant from collapsing. Incepted fibers are meant for storage tissues such as starch and oils. The fibers, which is one of the constituents of sclerenchymatous cells, they show elastic property, so it can withstand a tension. And slarids form continuous layer at periphery and protect inner tissue. So these are the various functions of sclerenchymatous cells. I hope you understood the topic, and if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you.